Get in here and let's talk about mushroom kits. Hey folks, this is Casey and I am one mellow marigold. If you've been hanging out in the kitchen with me for a hot minute, you'll know that I was gifted a white button mushroom kit from a family member over the holidays. And the kit came from Willow Mountain Mushrooms. And we had a lot of fun together growing mushrooms over the course of a few different weeks. And I wanted to come on here today to sort of wrap up and review that process so we can decide if mushroom kits are really worth it. So right off the bat, yes, that's my answer. That's my large overarching answer. For me, yes, mushroom kits are worth it. But it depends on what your goals are. There's a couple of areas that might not work for what you're interested in. So first of all, mushroom kits come in all shapes and sizes and types and varieties. You can get big ones, you can get small ones, all the different kinds. The kit that I received is larger in size and weight, so it's about a foot all the way around. And this is heavy. This is about 10 pounds right now in my hands, and it will get heavier as your mushrooms continue to grow and as you continue to add water into the box. So keep that in mind when you're ordering your kit. If you're not someone who has a real easy use of upper body strength, that might be a deterrent for you. You might want to get a smaller box kit instead. I think in general, most kits operate about the same way. It is going to be a cardboard box lined with a heavy plastic, and inside there is going to be a growing medium. So there's going to be mulch, compost, or a whole big mix of all of that. And then there's going to be some sort of casing material that actually contains the mycelium that's going to inoculate the growing medium. My kit came with great instructions, and they also have a wonderful YouTube site with a playlist directly for growing, so you can watch a video every step of the way and know what to expect. You're also going to need to find the right environment inside your home. Mushrooms like to grow between 65 and 70 degrees, so you're going to need a cooler area of the house. They're also going to need light, but not indirect light, and not too much light, but just enough light. So for me personally in this house, I sort of had to move it around a couple of times to sort of find the right mix. And quite frankly, it's winter time here. And so my house is naturally colder, and I kind of like a cold house anyway. And so honestly, I don't always know that I had the right environment to grow my mushrooms in. So that's another thing to think about. The growing process itself is really pretty easy. You're going to first moisten up the environment. You're going to inoculate your soil. You're going to get some water in there. You're going to make sort of a little humidity tent, and it's going to take maybe up to 2 weeks for your mushrooms to start to grow. Once they do start growing, however, you're going to get a lot of mushrooms. And this is one area where it may or may not be worth it for you. Be prepared that your first growth cycle might give you a huge ton of mushrooms to eat all at one time, which is great if you love mushrooms and you already have active ways that you can eat them up within a few days so they stay nice and fresh. In terms of total volume, my mushroom kit grew mushrooms 3 different times, and I got about 30 ounces of mushrooms from those 3 cycles. The mushrooms are super tasty. I don't know that I could say they exactly tasted different from store-bought mushrooms, but I would say like store-bought mushrooms, kind of can get like a slimy feel on the outside because usually they're wrapped in plastic and, moisture sits in there. And so I think store-bought mushrooms are going to have a little bit of that slimier texture than my mushrooms did, but they tasted great. They tasted lovely and mushroomy. Let's take a minute and talk about how mushrooms are grown when you do buy them from the store. Kennett Square, PA grows 60% of the mushrooms grown and sold in the United States. We're still a huge mushroom producer, and California backs up the supply as well. But Kennett Square, PA is the mushroom capital of the world. And guess what? They also rely heavily on immigrant labor to grow their mushrooms. Now, I have said it before, and I will continue to say it until I can't talk anymore. It's disgraceful that our country intentionally relies on vulnerable communities and immigrant labor to grow a basic need for life's existence. It's not okay. Regardless of who is harvesting and growing our food, they need safe and healthy working conditions. They need to be paid a fair and livable wage. And if they are immigrants coming in from another country to help us because we don't have the willing workforce to do the growing and the harvesting on our own, we need to provide them with an easy path to citizenship and not be causing fear with threats of ICE raids. In Kennett Square, PA, about 12% of their population are migrant workers. Now, that doesn't mean that all of them are undocumented, but many reports have shown that folks are just staying inside. They are terrified after hearing about ICE raids in other major cities, and they've even reported individuals putting fake ICE signs on vans and driving it around town. That's awful. That's disgraceful. No one should have to fear being taken from their families forcibly and shoved in a van. I told you I was not going to let you guys forget about this important topic, okay? Let's get back to the review. Now, once your mushroom kit is spent, you got a big box of dirt, right? You're going to want to make sure you dump that dirt into your compost bin to give it a second life and reduce waste. Let's talk about the time and effort factor. It's pretty easy. It really is pretty easy, although your mushrooms are going to need daily attention. If your home environment is dry and more controlled, that box may dry out really quickly. As you can see from my shorts, there were times when I just wasn't keeping the soil moist enough. So you really do have to check in the morning and then evening. If you're somebody who travels, for example, for work, and you're not going to be home for a few days, you may come home to huge, ginormous mushrooms that should have been harvested back long before, right? You're going to want to use the kit when you know you're going to be home every day to check on it. So as I said in the beginning, overall, yes, I think mushroom kits are absolutely worth it. From an educational standpoint, great project for the whole family. It's hands-on. It's not long-term commitment. Once it's done, you compost the contents and you move on about your life. Let's look at it from a cost perspective. As I said, a family member happened to buy this for me for the holidays. But if you were to go out and purchase your own, anywhere from $25 to say $40 is about average what you're going to spend. Now, are you going to get the mushrooms back out of that to sort of recoup your money? Probably not. Maybe it depends on the type of mushroom that you're growing, but probably not. As I mentioned, I got about 30 ounces worth of mushrooms, and if I were to go buy that in the store, it would be $12 or so. So from a monetary standpoint alone, it's not exactly worth it. These kits are not going to keep you furnished with enough mushrooms to support your daily dietary needs for a lifetime. So if that's what you're looking for, this isn't really quite the way to go about it. But if you're someone who wants to work towards that as a future goal, a mushroom kit is a great way to get started. Let's look at it from a sustainability perspective. The plastic and the energy resources spent on shipping are probably the two least sustainable factors, right? The cardboard can be broken down and composted. You're going to put the dirt right back in your compost bin. So from that side of it, you are able to reuse some of those materials. Overall, mushroom kits get a resounding yes from me. I will try another kit in the future. There's a couple other mushrooms that I'm interested in trying to grow. Both the chicken of the forest mushroom and oyster mushrooms are just two. So I will continue to try them out. I don't know that I want to go the long-term route yet of investing in the time, space, and energy to actually grow my own mushrooms all year round. But those kits are going to help me decide that. So for those reasons, I say yes. I love an experiment, I love a project, and I love finding ways to grow our own food and reduce our overall environmental footprint. If you haven't yet watched the shorts that take you through step-by-step what I did, go ahead and hit the mushroom playlist, and it'll show you everything we did. It really was a lot of fun. I even got better at omelets. We are marching right along towards spring and peak garden planning. So if there's anything else that you want me to try on your behalf so you don't have to, be sure to comment below. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that little bell notification symbol so you know when I've posted next. I love you guys. Thanks so much for your support. I'm going to talk to you on the next one, okay? Bye.